So we are live.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Gurveer. I am the Associate Dean at SOIL, Institute of Management. I have with me Salman. He is the Director CMS for SOIL for both our campuses. Today, we are going to be talking about the one-year program, the importance, why you should do a one-year program. So, as you all know, that there is a one-year executive MBA program and there is a traditional two-year MBA program. Now, traditionally, the two-year MBA program is preferred by people who have just finished a graduation and are going in for an MBA. So it's used by people who use it as a ticket to a job. While when you look at the one-year executive MBA that we're going to talk about, this is for people who have at least 2 years of work ex. So you've worked for 2 years, and now you want to do an MBA. You want to, complement. You want to build onto your skills that you already have. So let me first explain why do we have a one-year MBA. Many of you who have worked, been working for 2 years, so your basic foundation is already there. So you already have the basic foundation which is needed to do an MBA. In case of a fresher who comes, from a graduation degree, he comes from academic background, so that foundation needs to be built in MBA because MBA is more of a practitioner's course. Here, because you work, so the foundation is already there. So that's why we prefer a one-year MBA for an executive person who's worked. What we are now trying to do is to build on your experience and give you the necessary skills that you need to become a leader. So if I were just to give a brief about a one-year program, obviously academics, because we are a learning institute, you're doing an MBA. So we have academics. We begin with our core courses where we cover multi-dimensional, we give you multi-dimensional exposure. Some of you would be engineers, some of you would have an economics background, some of you an arts background, some of you a BBA. So what the core courses do, they help bring all of you on a single level. A lot of engineers don't know much about economics. Similarly, a lot of people who are non-engineers, they are very, hesitant when it comes to analytical problems and all things. So we try and bring people on a similar platform. We do a couple of finance basic courses, economics courses, marketing. We do a core course on strategy, which I teach. So the idea of a core course is to get you on the level, and then we get you into your specializations. Now in SOIL, we have multiple specializations. You can do in analytics, you can do in marketing, finance, and we have a separate course for HR. Now, when you go for your specializations, please remember the specializations are focused on building skill. Today's job is more of skill based. So what you're looking at, you're not, I always give the example of HR analytics. So you're an HR person and an analytics job. Now, if you look at it, what are you? Are you an analytics person doing HR? Or are you an HR person doing analytics? So it's all about skill sets. So the job, the electives that you take will be in conjunction with the type of career that you want to do. So if you want to work in startups, introduction to fintech, M&A, these are the courses that you need, along with maybe, in terms of big data mining or some sort of course. So the skill sets is what we do. The second, what we do is we work on your personality, and Salman's team plays a big role there because as Director CMS, and I'm sure he'll elaborate when in his later, they prepare you for a leadership role and for the next journey of your career. That's why you are here. Many of you want to change your function, change your job, or maybe just give a boost to your career. And that's what his team prepares you. The third thing that we work on a lot of social innovation projects. We believe that it's not just academics. Today's industry, you need to ensure that you're not only doing well for the company, but society as a whole. And the fourth thing that we do is on a lot of short-term projects. Again, Salman can touch base because, in a CMS interaction, we come up with a lot of short-term projects. Now, having said that it's a one-year program, let me tell you that the pace of a one-year program is very fast, because if we have just limited time, we have to prepare you on all these multiple dimensions, get you ready for a job, get you academically ready, get your personality ready. So the pace is very fast. And most people I have seen who come from industry enjoy the pace, because you've come from an industry background, you like aggressive pace. So I'm sure you will enjoy the pace. It's actually a 2-year program compact into one. So that's what the program is all about. I'll hand over the forum to Salman. He can take you forward on his role on what he does in the CMS. Salman.
Thank you very much, Gurveer, and a very warm welcome to all the participants in this webinar. I think Gurveer has covered a lot of the bases in terms of the coverage of the one-year program. The whole the major objective of this webinar was to A, tell you what the one-year program is all about. B, how is it distinguished from the two-year program? And as Gurveer rightly pointed out, the core and key difference is that students who come into our one-year program carry an average work experience of 3 to 3.5 years and the minimum work experience of around 2 years. So therefore, it is self-evident that the group for whom this program is most productive are people who have already had a certain, a career established in the industry. And we get students from a variety of industries into our program. A lot of them tend to be from technology. So we have IT, ITES. Then we have folks coming in from consulting. We have students with a BFSI background, a manufacturing background. So these are diverse background students who are admitted into this one-year program. And since they already carry a prior work experience, therefore there is a certain level of maturity that already exists in this lot. Now, in terms of what we wish to achieve during this one-year program for you, Gurveer very correctly pointed out that a lot of our students who come in, some of them are looking for a complete switch in the sort of career that they have or the industries that they were a part of. So we get a lot of folks from, let's say, the technology industry, e-commerce, IT, etc., who are now looking to change either their industry or the core function that they are a part of. So therefore, we may have people who were doing software development and maintenance earlier, who now are getting into or who wish to get into human resource management, who wish to get into business development. So therefore, they may continue to stay on in IT, but they want to get into roles like pre-sales, roles like, core sales as well, roles in product management. So I'm just giving you a few examples. So a lot of our students come into this program because they are able to successfully change the kind of function that they were playing in their previous organization. And in some cases, change the stream or the industrial sector altogether. So this is one core set of people that we get. There are others who also come in to pick up on skills. So Gurveer talked about, picking up on a lot of the new age skills. He referred to programs like fintech, etc. Then there's a huge stress that we now have on digital strategy, digital transformation, data science and analytics. And as he rightly said, data science and analytics now runs across all functions such as HR, finance, operations, manufacturing, every function that you can think of. You have a huge utilization of data science and engineer and analytics. So therefore, the whole thrust of this program is to equip you, and I'm referring to the one-year program here. The whole thrust is to equip you to move up the ladder. It is to move you up the ladder. You get the bigger roles, the meatier roles, the roles that carry more responsibility. And of course, as he pointed out, since we also have a huge thrust on building your leadership skills, therefore, we try and ensure that you will be ready to be leaders of the future, which means not just carrying core competency in subject areas like marketing or finance, but also carrying the leadership skills, the skills that help you blend and create teams, lead those teams successfully, ensure that your teams are not just productive, but these teams actually create value for the organizations that you are a part of. So for that, a lot of the other skills that some of which he referred to, building in you compassion, empathy, understanding of, the overall scenario. All of those things come into play. So therefore, this is what we are trying to achieve out of the one-year program: create leaders of the future. And in order to do that, he's already talked briefly about the kind of curriculum that we have in place. Some questions that I'm looking at, in terms of how is this different from the 2-year program. So it is very clear that the 2-year program largely caters to students who are fresh graduates. And by the way, that is a very, very substantial chunk of all MBA aspirants, people who are fresh graduates from branches like commerce, engineering, arts, sciences. These students primarily have the goal of learning the management competencies and thereafter getting into the corporate sector. Whereas the crowd that, or rather the students who come into the one-year program are looking to upskill. They are looking to upskill so that they can move up the chain as far as their careers are concerned. So this primarily covers what we wanted to address in terms of, the differences between the two programs. Our one-year program is the flagship program of SOIL. This is the program that we started our institution with nearly 13, 14 years ago. And as some of you may be aware, there's a conglomerate or consortium of 32 major companies that came together to create the school. And this includes the likes of Tata Steel, Infosys, Mahindra and Mahindra, the Aditya Birla Group, Hindustan Unilever Limited. So some of the top companies of the country came together to create our one-year program. And when I say create it, I mean they have been actively involved all these years, involved in terms of framing a curriculum, because they are the best people to know what is the curriculum that is desirable for the leaders of the future. So they've helped us to create that curriculum. They help us to revise it periodically because, things change so rapidly these days that whatever you're studying today may be of very little relevance after 2 years. So therefore, we have a constant revision and upgrade of our program, which again, our consortium partners, which I referred to, they help us out with. And they additionally also help us with screening candidates for the admission process. So you will frequently see one of our consortium partners sitting along with one of us in the personal interviews that are held for the selection of our students. So that is, about our one-year program. And the placements, of course, I can tell you with a great deal of pride and confidence that our students who enter the program with a salary of X in their previous jobs, on an average, go back with a salary which is at least 2 to 2.5X. If not better. In some cases, it goes to 3X as well and even beyond. But we deliver true value in terms of ensuring that what you could have grown to in a period of 5 to 6, maybe even longer, 5, 6 years or 7 years, you actually are able to achieve that level in just a one-year program once your placements commence. And of course, the roles are substantially carrying more responsibility, a higher level of responsibility. You will be, the bulk of you will be titled as managers from day one once you get placed after the one-year program. So these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share with you. We will now be very happy to take your questions. I noticed that a lot of questions have been typed in. So Gurveer, do you want to start off with the questions that have been typed into the chat box?
Sure, Salman. So the first Gitanjali's question, I've already replied that yes, she's eligible for a PGPM in HR. She's got a total 2 years experience, one in Genpact and one in Accenture. Gitanjali, I've also shared you the URL link. You could go there, you could apply, you need to fill up a form. So pay the fees of 2,000, you can apply. And then you need to give an exam, a STAT exam, which is basically not an elimination, but it's a self-discovery personality exam. Then we have, on the day of the interview, we have a simulation exercise and we have a personal interview. So that's this thing. But yes, you are eligible to apply for the 1-year program. I think the other questions that are there are, so again, on the placement part, job is guaranteed or not after completing the course.
So who's the person who's asked this? I would
This
like
is
to.
Mayur. This is Mayur has asked this question.
Mayur, nothing on earth is ever guaranteed. My friend, you have to work for a job. What we do at our end is ensure that you have the best possible opportunities to get a job, which means the best possible companies, the best possible roles. But at the end of the day, all of you, I mean, I'll be lying if I said that, the institute can guarantee a job to you. We don't, and we don't believe in doing that either. What we do believe in is ensuring that you have the right opportunities. And of course, the fact that you have developed the right competencies during your stay in this program for you to be able to get those jobs. All I can go back on is we do have an excellent track record when it comes to placing our batches. So very rarely has a situation arisen where we have unplaced students post our convocation. Our convocation is typically in April or May. I think this year it will be in May. We are very confident that this entire batch of students, we are already 75, 76% through with the entire batch. We are confident we'll get virtually all of them through. But I'm again adding the rider. Finally, it is you who will be up facing the interviewer. None of us, neither me nor Gurveer, can help you out with that, or anybody else for that matter. So therefore, it is your performance in the selection process that counts. But yes, opportunities, I can guarantee you, you will get them. I hope that answers this question.
Okay, I think so. Nikita asked, MBA is better or PGDM? I think.
So this is, Nikita, an MBA technically can only be awarded by a university. So what we award in the 1-year program is it's a PGPM certification, postgraduate program in management. That is what we award. And the PGDM is the 2-year program. So both of us, both Gurveer and I, have already spoken to you about the difference between the 1 year and 2 years. It's not about which one is better. It'll be incorrect on my part to talk about which one is better. What I can tell you is the 1-year program, and I'm repeating this, the 1-year program is suitable for people with prior work experience and a good level of prior work experience, at least 2 years. Whereas the PGDM program is more suitable for people in the 0 to 2 year kind of bracket when it comes to work experience. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, Debajyoti is asking, if I want to do an MBA in finance and HR, is this a good opportunity for me or not? Debajyoti, I think there is no good or bad opportunity for learning. I think you need to understand what is it that you would like to do. So why are you coming to soil? What is the purpose with which you want? Is it an academic purpose? Is it that you, like Salman said, you were looking for a career, switch in your career, or is it that an MBA in finance interests you? So if you look at me in terms of opportunity, I think the economy has recovered from COVID. There's no better time for anyone to do anything, because companies are hiring, placements are going great. So if you look at a macro level, yes, it's a good time. But for you individually, I think you would be the best judge, as to what you would like to do. But I can only comment on the macro aspect that yes, the economy is picking up. The lot of new jobs are coming up, new skill sets are in demand. We all know in terms of the post-COVID era, how digitization plays a very important role, hybrid workspaces, a lot of new opportunities in finance are coming up, as the consumption and the credit cycle picks up. Banks are very aggressively recruiting because they see a good future. So on the macro level, yes, there is a good future. For you personally, I think you need to decide how you fit into all this, That's what I would say, in terms of this thing. And Yash says, is the interview in English?
Is interview for English, which means
Oh,
he's
sorry.
asking if communication skills is all we are looking for. No, Yash, it's about a lot more. See, English is a part of it, certainly. And, we do expect that your written English and spoken English will be at least at an acceptable level. I'm not saying you need to be super fluent in English or you need to have great literary talent or anything to that effect. But yes, you do need to finally, as a leader, you will be communicating. And therefore, since English is the language largely used in the corporate world, we do expect you to be able to communicate effectively. But this doesn't mean that, you'll be put through a hard English test. No, our tests are very different. We check your psychometric profile, which means assessment of your overall personality. Yes, we also ask you to write a case and an essay, but that is largely to check your thought process. I'm not saying that, it'll help if your English is poor. No, it won't. Obviously, you do need to write at least broadly correct English, but it is the quality of thought process that we try to assess there. So I hope we've answered your question on that.
Okay, so Himanshu wants to know, I want to know bare minimum score required in CAT. Again, I think, or that. I think this is again to do with the admission process. So please, I think as a general question, Salman, I can say, you see, the admission process has many components, and each of these has a certain weightage. So there is no one particular skill or one particular score. It's a combination of many factors. So it's your application form, it's your academic background, it is your extracurricular, how good you've been on what you've done. It is also your marks, like I said. Then it is your video essay that we have. Then it is your personal interview. Then it is your stat score. So I think, Salman, it's a combination of many things. So I cannot, and that's what makes a good candidate. If I were to decide that what is one, so that's how it is all. I think it's a combination of all of them.
Absolutely. We do not keep, to give you a specific answer to your question, we do not keep a minimum cutoff. We do expect that all of you would be carrying, scores which are at least above 60 percentile on CAT. I'm just taking that as an example. I'm not saying again that is a rejection criteria, but it is expected that, your general aptitude would be at a level where you can score approximately a 60 percentile. However, as I said, please speak to the admission team in this regard. What we are telling you is that while that level of aptitude is expected, but it is not a gate, as in, for instance, if you have a 50 or a 55 or some, score in that range, that we'll not consider. We will consider you, provided what Gurveer just outlined, those other tests which you write, you perform well in them.
So Manas wants to know the PGPM Analytics placement.
Oh, so our placement for analytics has actually been the best this time. The entire batch in both our programs, not just the 1 year, but also the 2-year program, we just have, out of our entire batch, just 1 or 2 students who are yet to be placed in the analytics stream. And the average CTC has also been the highest for this particular program. It's in excess of 12.5, if I remember the figure correctly right now.
Okay. Does your own family business experience count? Now, I don't know whether you're talking about this, Ashu, with regards to placements or with regards to the admissions process, but I think we can answer, Salman, for both.
Yes. So for placements, the clear answer is, Ashu, no. Unfortunately, it doesn't. The reason for that is all our employers, the recruiters who come to the campus for hiring, they are very insistent that they want to see formal work experience. So when they advertise a job, and they say that they are expecting candidates with, let's say, 2 to 3 years of prior work experience, they would then want to see that 2 to 3 year experience in a formal work environment, which means you need to have pay slips, you need to have your PF, you need to have direct deposit of salary into your accounts. You need to have appointment and relieving letters. All of those things are expected. And this is not a condition that we are imposing. This is the condition that our employers or our recruiters rather, our recruiters impose. So therefore, the work experience that you may have gained in your family business will actually not add up to formal work experience. That I want to be upfront with you on that, because we've had situations in the past where our students have had trouble justifying that kind of work experience in a job interview or a selection process with an organization.
Great. Okay. Parvez says, I only have sales experience close to 3+ years. Will doing a 1-year PGPM and HR help me pivot to HR roles, or will companies coming to campus reject my application? So, Parvez, I think we initially said that a lot of people do, and you have to understand the concept of an executive MBA. Most companies, students come to an executive MBA, when they are looking for something more. So it's not, if you already are in an HR role, why would you want to do an MBA? I think you have to understand that. So many people in the current batch also, we have people with engineering background, people maybe with with economics honors bag, who want to do an HR because they are interested in HR, because they would like to switch into. So at least my experience is, and I've worked in corporate India, that a sales experience will not be, in fact, a sales experience every time adds on to what you've done, because it's always, your clients, you've met people, you've had an outward exposure, you would also have a fairly good communication and a fairly outward extrovert personality. So it actually, my personal experience as a corporate with 20 person with 20 years experience is that it's a benefit, it's not a hindrance. So Salman, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think any kind of sales experience that you've had will aid you regardless of which role you're getting into. So even in roles like HR, the qualities of a salesperson, and I'll refer to some of them, it's all about understanding what your key stakeholders or your customers are looking for. Whether you are specializing in HR or in data science or in operations, you do need to understand your customer better. It could be an external customer or an internal customer. So therefore, yes, I would categorically say your 3 years of sales experience is absolutely relevant, and you can switch to an HR role as well.
A lot of people want to know about our specializations, as to what are we, giving in terms. I think so. We have 2 courses. One is the business leadership and HR. HR is a separate course because, our founder, Mr. Anil Sachdev, is a leading figure in the HR field. So that's a separate course, and that's one of our unique courses that we have in North India, in terms of HR, specialized HR course. We have the business leadership course, which has analytics, marketing, and finance as a specialization. So these are the specializations that we all have. A lot of people also want to know, will classes be held online or offline? So I think as of now, they're hybrid. We have both online and offline. I think government regulations going forward will play a major role, but the way we see it, I think that focus from next session will be more on an in-house, on an offline mode. I think that's the way I see it. Unless and until there is another wave of government regulations, maybe forbid it. But I think we are going to move more towards an in-person, in-house classroom experience. That's what.
There are a couple of questions here, Gurveer. One of which is about Manas is asking, he's presently working on tech support in a major IT company. Can I go for PGPM Analytics? And will support experience? Absolutely, Manas. In fact, some of our best placements this year have occurred in the analytics stream for people with precisely your kind of background. People who've worked in companies previously like Cognizant, HCL, etc., in tech support, in IT, and who've very, very successfully switched to data science roles. So I would say absolutely yes. Then there's a question from Nalini. She says, I'm assuming it's a she, Nalini Singh. I have 4 years of experience in software development. I'm not sure about choosing a particular MBA course. So Nalini, my take is the 1-year program for somebody with your background will be 100% relevant. It will be 100% relevant. It is the most common profile that we get, people who worked in the IT or software sector for periods of anywhere from 3 to 7 years, and who are thereafter able to move into higher roles either within the same industry or in other industries. So absolutely, you could specialize in data science, you could specialize in marketing and sales. I see no issues. In fact, your profile is one of the most, if I may use that term broadly, saleable profile when it comes to our campus hiring process.
Great. I think, okay.
There's a question at the end here, Gurveer, about what is the higher side of work experience. Yeah, what is the higher side of work experience accepted at SOIL? Arun Ramesh is asking this. Will a person with around 10 years be able to sit? My answer is yes. However, I will cautiously inform you that the sweet spot that we have is closer to 5.5 years. So a lot of the companies that visit the campus are looking for people in that 2.5 to 6 or 2.5 to 7 year bracket. But that said, we've had very successful, placements for people at higher experience levels as well, including this year. This year, we've had, 1 or 2 very good placements for people who had 8 years and 8 years plus. And 10 years also last year, our highest paying role went to somebody with 10 years plus of experience. So I would say that while there may not be as many opportunities for you, Arun, as there will be for the others who are in that 3 to 6 year kind of bracket, but there will be an adequate number of opportunities for you to choose from. So I would say my answer to you would be yes.
10
years
would be on investment banks coming. Do investment banks come for recruitment? So yes, we have consultancy company like Deloitte coming for finance risk advisory. We have Accenture coming for finance, consultancy roles, and we have banks like HDFC, Axis, and ICICI coming. But investment banks, at least this year, they've not come. Salman would be in a better position to talk about the previous years. But we get consultancy companies for finance roles and banks for finance roles in terms of the BFSI space.
No, I think you've stated it absolutely correctly. We do not get the pure play investment banks into the campus. But that said, because the profile of our student intake is changing, so we are targeting to bring in some of those investment banks also as we go along. However, my answer to you would be in the thus far, we've not had too many of those roles in the investment banks.
Okay, so Manas is saying presently working in technical support domain in a major IT service company. Can I go for PGPM Analytics, and will my support experience affect my placement?
Yeah, this I just answered, Gurveer.
Okay.
I just answered.
Sorry, Mr. Mistred.
Yeah.
I have 2+ years work ex as analyst in NatWest Group, MBA graduate. Will it be difficult for me to switch to data analytics? So I wouldn't. We in the current batch, we have a student who was also an analyst in NatWest Group, and she doesn't have analytic background. She's from English honors, and she's done data analytics, and she's got a very reasonably good job above the average salary. So that's not an issue, I would say.
Okay, I'm looking at the Q&A box now. There's some questions typed there as well. One question is, will a BBA graduate find it difficult to learn business analytics? My answer to that is absolutely no. It really is up to you, your learning ability, the aptitude that you have to pick up concepts. Look, in our analytics program, you do have to be prepared to learn some level of, technology skills. So there are programming languages like R, Python that you will learn. There are, depiction platforms like Tableau that you will have to learn. So as long as you yourselves are able to gear up, we do not see any issue with that. And yet people with BBA backgrounds have managed to perform quite well. So I see no issues with that.
Okay.
Then,
And
yeah.
I think Soumya saying, I have heard that PGPM HR placements is great at soil, but is the PGDM HR opportunities also there at soil? So PGDM, I believe she's talking about the 2-year program.
Yes, yes. The answer is, Soumya, the answer is yes. We have an HR specialization in our 2-year PGDM program as well. And the placements there, by the way our placement process works is the same level, the same opportunities are shared across both. So there are some which are specific to the 2-year program. For instance, some companies are not looking for students with high levels of experience. So those go purely to the 2-year program. But quite a few of our opportunities tend to be common to both. So I would say that the PGDM HR opportunities are also very much there.
Okay. In the chat, there is a question by Apoor. Does MBA, PGDM, PGPM in business analytics or data analytics need to be sound with coding skills? What if one has no interest or no skill in programming? Will it be a bit problematic in sustaining in the program?
My take on this is, Apoor, look, you've mentioned that you have no interest or skill in programming. These days, you see the bulk of the students who are coming in, they do at least, you don't need to be an expert at programming. Let me clarify this. To get into our analytics stream, you do not need to be an expert in programming. But our assumption is that at least at the level of, let's say, an Excel, most of you would have worked in Excel. And, when I say worked in Excel, it's not just about depicting data on a sheet or a table, but also in terms of performing some level of operations on that data. As long as you can do that, you can very easily pick up on platforms like R and Python, which are a part of this program. So therefore, don't come in assuming that you won't be able to do it or that you will not like doing it. Look, as the both of us have said earlier in this session, there's hardly any stream of business or hardly any stream of professional career now where data science will not play a role. So, it's time for us to put aside our fears and our inhibitions when it comes to learning, some of these platforms. And I see no reason why you will not be able to do it. I hope that addresses your concern.
Okay, so there's another. So what are the finance jobs? As it is hard to get into core finance job with high packages. So I think we've already touched base. There are banking jobs from ICICI, Axis, and HDFC. So some of these jobs are wholesale banking, corporate banking jobs, which are core finance jobs. There was a couple of jobs which were on compliance and risk management, which are again also this thing. Risk management, obviously, another core banking activity, core finance. Along with that, so that's BFSI is one. We have like consultancy, we've already spoken, about risk advisory, strategic consulting. Most of these consultancy jobs of finance, they're preferred. I mean, they're open to others, but finance is preferred. We had a job with Tres Vista, which is a global financial KPO, where we had a very interesting role where you were playing an executive assistant to a CFO. So I think then we had, a lot of KPO roles like Genpact had wanted roles in financial domain. Which were a combination of finance, analytics, and other things. So we do get all sorts of core finance jobs there. And like I said, it is all up to you. Is for two-year PGDM, isn't there a general MBA?
2-year PG, isn't there a general MBA? I did not follow that question actually.
No.
What does? So you'll have to possibly elaborate on what exactly you're looking for. In the meantime, I'll just take up some follow-up questions to what Apoor had asked. Apoor has himself said, Excel skills is not programming skills. And while I broadly agree with you there, Apoor, however, when I say Excel, I'm not referring to just basic depiction of data. There is, some level of summation. There is some level of, writing macros. I don't know if you've done that in Excel or not. And by the way, don't let these things scare you. These are all driven through the platform. You don't have to learn too much of syntax to get there. See, by the way, I'm an IT person, many years in IT. So I'm coming to you from that background. When we were learning programming languages, the main issue used to be learning syntax. Now the entire thing is menu driven, and you do not have to worry about learning commands or which command will fit in. So I'll say do not worry excessively on that front. A lot of it, and people with very basic background. I mean, I see these days kids in class 7 and 8 being able to do, at least base level programming very easily. So I see no reason why all of you, I'm assuming, are graduates, will not be able to handle it. Don't carry that fear. It's more of a fixation in your mind than anything else that it will be difficult. Another person has asked a related question, Nitish Gaba. He's saying these tech languages are quite vast. Condensing it in 1 year program, will we be able to get hold of the... My answer to you, Nitish, is yes. The programs that we have for both R and Python are 25-hour programs, both of them, 25 or 20 hours. I forget exactly. We can check. You can check that out. And within that 20 to 25 hours, the faculty is able to get you at least to a level where you can communicate intelligently on those platforms. I'm not saying you'll become experts in R and Python by just, completing these courses. However, you will learn enough for you to be able to build the basic data models that are required in your either data analytics or business analytics. So don't worry excessively about this. Most of our students who come in to our analytics course are not experts. I'm again repeating, they're not experts at programming. So even if all you need to carry is basic understanding of concepts and some basic analytical ability, and you will be successful. So don't worry excessively about it.
Okay, so Praful is saying, I have done a BE mechanical and was working in a manufacturing company as a senior sales engineer from last 3 years into stock market and hence wish to pursue an MBA in finance. Will it be difficult to get placed with other domain experience? Or should I do any course before admission? So I think, Praful, you need to understand, I think if you look at most of the B schools in the world, you have a lot of engineers doing finance. In fact, because of your analytical abilities, many a times they are also preferred after, like chartered accountants are. And so engineers are, so there is no, I think, bar or there is no set profile. I think you'll do just fine if you're interested in finance. So I don't think there is any specific, the profile that they're looking at, but being in mechanical should do just fine for a finance job, I think.
Okay, the one after that, Apurva, I think we've already addressed this, so I'm hoping that the answers come through. So the last one here is soil offers PGPM, or so we offer both.
Both.
The 1 year program is PGPM and the 2 year program is PGDM.
Yes. Okay. I think
you missed out anything.
I'm just going through the, so Vicky wants to meet someone from the placement team. He says, can you give me the placement team numbers?
So we can certainly do that. If there is a question, since I'm, overall in charge of placements for both our campuses, if there's any specific question you want to ask right now, you can type it in. Otherwise, we can share numbers of people that you can get in touch with, including my own.
Okay, so one very important question that is that from Arun Ramesh, why has the PGPM program still not received AICT approval? What is stopping soil from getting it since the 2 year program already has it? So I think, Arun, you need to first understand that for the 1 year program, it's not that we've not received it. We have not decided to apply or think of it in a direction. And, most 1 year programs today in the country, like the ISB one, are not AICT approved, because, and we did not feel the need, we are supported by 32 consortium companies, as Salman said, and that approval is more important for us than, an AICT approval. Also, it gives us flexibility to, mold our curriculum as per the latest standards and, bring a course at par with what it should be with global standards. So we've never really felt the need to have an AICT approval. That is why we've not applied for an AICT approval. And in the one-year program, if you see a lot of campuses, most of them, I would say, are not in the one-year AICT approval format, if I would say that. Yes. How is this? There's a question on FMCG placement. How are the placements for the FMCG in the PGDM they're asking now, no 2-year program?
So PGDM, yes. In fact, I'm glad you asked this question. The FMCG companies largely come for the PGDM students. The reason is the focus of our PGPM program is very different. FMCG typically wants to hire, particularly for their sales and marketing functions, people who are either fresh out of college or with minimal experience, so that your molding and your training in that particular space can take place very effectively. So the PGDM program, certainly, there are FMCG organizations that are recruiting there. But I would say largely for the PGPM program, it doesn't happen. E-commerce, yes, we do get a lot of roles for e-commerce companies for the PGPM program, but not less as far as the FMCG companies are concerned.
Also, you see a lot of FMCG companies prefer to go by the summer training PPO route.
Yes.
Yeah, they prefer to first take a summer training, evaluate his performance, and if he's good, they give him a pre-placement offer. That is the journal for, like Dabur, Hindustan Lever. In fact, that is what has happened also in the 2-year program. That is the journal modus operandi of FMCG companies. So that's why the 2-year program is more preferred.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, I think we've done. We are more
or less done. Any other questions?
So they are asking for the business analytics average salary. I don't know for the PGPM whether we would have that.
So as I've said, for the entire data science stream, and that includes the business analyst roles, we are running at just above 12 at the moment for the PGPM program. Yes.
I think we are more or less done. Are there any? I think we are more or less done. If there are any questions, we would be more than happy to take them as we still have some time. I'll just scan through.
Looking at the Q&A box as well. Yeah. Is there any general MBA? Stats of FMCG? Yeah. This we have covered.
General MBA we have covered.
I don't know if we answered this question. Which one has more value, MBA? Oh, so this we did. We did answer. We said that the different sets of people for which these two programs are applicable.
So I think Praful has raised his hand. I think if you can just type his question or whatever, I think we would be in the chat or in the QA. Can I apply to the PGPM? Yes, Sandeep, you can apply. February 19th is our second round deadline, 19th of February. You could go to our website and you could apply to the PGPM program there, and you could fill up the form, pay the application fee of 2,000 rupees, and you could apply. What are the average and highest in the marketing? So I think they would like to know in the marketing also, what is the highest salary? In the
marketing highest would be around 15 or thereabouts, 15 to 15 and a half. And we've got some good product roles in that. And the average is running at about, I would say, just above 11.1 or thereabouts. Hope that answers your question.
The more or less done. Yeah. So when will the class? So classes will start. We didn't have an exact date, but roughly around May 10th is what we generally start. So first week to midweek of May is when we start.
Okay.
Yes, you can change your specialization. I don't think that's a problem. Okay, that's interesting. Does soil apply any lowest placement bar? Yes, I think we do. Yes.
Yes. The answer to that is yes. It's been 7 lakhs per annum, consistently over the last few years. This year we have raised it slightly, so it's more like 7.5. Next year we may even push it up to 8 as the lowest.
Great. Does soil provide MBA in operations? No, unfortunately we don't. But we do have a lot of subjects on supply chain management and operations. A lot of our marketing courses devoted to that. So we don't have a specialization in operations, but we do cover specific subjects as part of the curriculum.
Okay, I think that covers all the questions. So should you have any other queries, or as one of you indicated, you need to speak to one of us, please feel free to do that. The numbers are all there on our website, including mine. You can just pick up the phone anytime, talk to our admissions team or our placement team, and you'll get resolution to all your queries there.
I think yes.
All right. So if there are no further questions, I think we can sign off.
I guess thank you all for taking some time out and participating in this webinar. Thank you. What is the fee structure at soil, excluding scholarships? So I think roughly it is about 15 lakhs, including GST, if I may. This thing. That is the fee structure. Is the 2-year program deadline over? No, I think so the 19th February is the deadline for all our programs. Second deadline for the 1-year business leadership, 1-year HR, and the 2-year PGDM. We have scholarships. We have a lot of scholarships. So we have, firstly, you need to understand that we have a meritorious scholarship. We have a need-based scholarship. We have a scholarship of Captain Vikram Batra for the wards of defense and central forces. We also have a Vergis Kurian scholarship for wards of farmers. So there are a multiple. So the eligibility, you see, it depends. Now, if you're applying for a need-based scholarship, you need to have an annual income of less than 5 lakhs. And it needs to be supported by other parameters. So it's not just anyone and everyone is eligible. A need-based is then bases your 10th, 12th, graduation and overall academic record. So there's a committee. We have a scholarship committee that takes the decision, and you can apply basis the eligibility, and it's there on the website. Eligibility of the need-based is below 5 lakh. The others depend on the curriculum. On the if it's a merit-based scholarship, then it is on your marks that you have in your graduation in your 10th and 12th and your this thing, and your other extracurricular activities, if they participate in them, depends on that. No. So you need to understand that if your income is below 5 lakhs, you are eligible for that scholarship. Doesn't mean you will get it. Okay. So not everyone below 5 lakhs gets it. If you're below 5 lakhs, you apply, then there's a committee which evaluates, so there are a lot of parameters on that in which they evaluate what is your need base and what is your profile. Again, so then what is that, again, it comes back to your academic background and all, so there are many parameters on which we look at, what is your academic background, what profile are you from, what are you interested in? Again, so it's a comprehensive thing, I mean, there's a committee which does that. Yes, I think Salman,
I think stats of FMCG.
Yes, you need to fill up the form and you can apply. Great.
Okay, it's been a pleasure meeting up with all of you. And as I said, please feel free to reach out to either our admissions team or our placements team, whatever is the nature of your query, please feel free to reach out to us. Aditya, I'll take your question as the final one. I've heard that some companies give a vast difference between in-hand and CTC. That, my friend, is always the case. Well, it should not be a very vast difference, but there are incentive-based payments that a lot of companies go in for. So therefore, particularly for roles in sales and marketing, you may have, a proportion of your salary, typically in anywhere from 10 to 20% could be coming in as incentives, but that really varies from company to company. So it's difficult for me to give you a, I think make a fool of you is a very harsh question you asked, Aditya.
No, I think I'll just answer that to say, Aditya, companies today are very transparent. They give each component of your CTC. So they are very clear. The breakup is given. Correct. They also give you whether if there is an incentive, is it a deferred incentive? Is it performance based, or is it, basically a committed incentive? So rest assured, even if there is a difference, companies are transparent and we ensure they're transparent, and that has always been our benchmark, that we ensure that the level of transparency is high. You are informed of the decision. And companies, when they come for the pre-placement talks, they also inform. Even companies today would like to be transparent because they are also being judged on that by students, So rest assured, whether a difference happens or not, it will be told to you. Okay, Deepti, since we can have a quick question since you've raised your hand. I don't see a question.
There it is. Given that other colleges GDPI is going, they'll share the result not before May, June. Deepti, we would like to close our admissions process at the earliest, of course. So please do, if you're applying right now, your process will be conducted over the. I'll leave it to Gurveer to answer this better.
See, firstly, Deepti, there is always a trade-off. Okay, that's always there. Whenever you apply, whether it's any college, every college has its own deadline. And we begin our course in May. Like you said, it's a one-year course. And in 1 year we have to prepare you academically and all, on your personality and then for placements. So we begin in May. So we conduct a process, and as per the different cycles of the Feb deadline we have. And if the 19th Feb is the deadline, hopefully, when we conduct the process, it takes a couple of days for us to process, and then we evaluate and collate and give you. So we generally do come up with this thing by end of Feb, or first week latest by first week of March for this deadline. So because we also need to start in May, and we need time to complete the course. As Salman said, we have a lot of things to prepare you for. So May, June basically works for a 2-year program where you have the luxury of time. This is predominantly for those campuses. Most 1-year programs begin by May. So I think if you look at the deadlines, most of them work in sync with what we are. So you need to decide, and that decision will always be there. When you're applying multiple places, you can't always have the best of all. You need to take a call. I think that decision making is always there. Yeah. Great. So thank you everyone for attending, and it was a pleasure interacting with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.